Are you looking for an ESP32 simulator? What about an Arduino simulator that can simulate Arduino Unos, Megas, and Nanos? Or what about a Pi Pico simulator? Maybe an STM simulator? Well, hey, look no further than Wokwi, an online electronics simulator. Now, the first question you're going to have is, how do you pronounce this thing? What's the deal with the name? Well, here's the deal. The developers were Ewoks. You take off the E, you got walks. So that's walks. And then you think of a bunch of Ewoks having fun, like, wee. Well, there you go. Wokwi. Ewoks having fun developing an electronic simulator. Now, the first thing they answer in the frequently asked questions of Wokwi is, what does the name mean? They claim it doesn't have any meaning. But if you go to fandom and explore the Ewokese language, you'll actually see that Wokwi means walk with me. Okay, maybe I made that up with developer tools, but don't you think that's a good candidate for a meaning? So is the simulator any good? Heck yeah, it's good. That's why we're doing a video on it. Okay, so I just love the fact that there's such a variety of boards that you can simulate. So let's check out this actual simulator. So I'm going to look at this ESP32. They've got a bunch of featured examples. And what's cool with ESP32, you can actually connect to the internet with the examples, right? I mean, that's what makes it so neat. So they've got this joke machine. That's pretty neat. And so here you see on the left-hand side, you're going to have your code. On the right-hand side, they have a palette where you can design the circuit. And again, this was, just a example they provide, but you can add stuff. They got a bunch of different stuff you could add, like, I don't know, maybe I want to add a NeoPixel ring to this. I just click that, and there you go. If I want to make some connections, that's easy. You just click on the lead, and then you drag it to wherever, you might want to connect it. It's pretty simple. Keyboard shortcuts work, which is nice. Gotta love the keyboard shortcuts. You can move stuff. Now check this out. This might get you. When you move something, notice that these don't follow, and you're like, oh man, don't tell me that, but check it out. Once you let go, bam, they all follow. So, it's just giving, it's just not cluttering the screen with all that stuff. Okay, so that's neat. This is like pretty straightforward. You got a part, you can add it. Now there's certain parts that you can, you click on it, they've got values, you can change the value, right? That's pretty straightforward. You can delete it right there. Maybe there's a question about it, a link right to the documentation, or you can delete it. So again, the code is over here. This is like the IDE, right? Or the editor section. And over here on the right is the palette where you can add components and stuff like that. And I just showed you how easy it is to add a component. You just hit a plus sign, right? Okay, connections was simple. Well, what if you want to simulate this thing? How might I do it? Well, hey, look, big green button. That's pretty easy. So you just hit play. And then what's gonna happen is it's just gonna run that sketch. It's gonna run that program over here. And so, it tells you when it started. It's connecting to Wi-Fi, and it loads a joke. With the punchline, you want a new joke, you just press the button, and then it does it again. And here's what's cool about this is the code over here is actually hitting an API, right? This isn't like pre-programmed, responses that were saved somewhere. This is actually going to an API and delivering actual, real-time results, which is pretty neat. So basically, the idea being that if you are trying to develop something that's going to use some API, you can do it on a simulator, which is pretty handy. There's different ESP32 boards that you can simulate. And if you just click on the ESP32 board and hit the question mark, it shows you the different options you have, the different chipsets or whatever that you can use. But, the default one is pretty darn common. It's like an ESP32 Dev Kit 4, I think that's the default one. But, you can check by just going to the diagram, and it'll tell you, yeah, here it is, ESP32 Dev Kit V4. And, what's neat about, here up here, we said, here's the code, right? Well, the diagram.json, this is just a JSON file that describes all the stuff in here. What's fun is if you move this, you can see that, these values change based on where it's at, the connection. So it's pretty cool. The libraries.txt just shows you what libraries have been added to this. And then there's a library manager. If you want to add a library, you can click here. Now that's pretty cool. Now let's say you're writing some code and you make an error. How does that work? So let's say this is just doing a digital write. What if I just, I don't know, I'll misspell digital write right there, and I'm going to hit start the simulation. So what it's going to do is it's going to compile the project, and this is going to take a little bit. but you're going to get an error message right here. So if you write an error, it's going to show you that the build failed, right? So there was an issue with the compiling. It's going to tell you what the error was. And then, you can close it and fix your error. Or it even, it says, hey, you can get some help. They've got a Discord community. You can go and ask some questions, right? Which is kind of nice. And you can share the project first, which is really helpful. They can look at your actual project, talk about a great way to coordinate with other people to ask questions, right? So I'll just go ahead and hit close, but then notice they highlight over here. So, hey, where's my error? Oh, okay, it's just right around here. And then, that's the idea. And now I can run the simulation and I'm back on track. I got my LED blinking here. So that's pretty cool. Now, like I mentioned, it doesn't just simulate the ESP32. It also simulates Arduino Unos, Megas. So let's go ahead and check out this Mega simulation. This is pretty cool. I'll just go ahead and hit play simulation. I mean, that's pretty neat. Like there's a lot you can do in here. You know what I mean? This is a pretty neat simulator. Now, Wokwi does have a bunch of Arduino libraries already installed on it, right? So if you just hit the pound sign in one of the programs, it'll give you different appropriate libraries that you can add. So, Dallas temperature, for example, or whatever. But it is worth noting, if you want to add a third-party library that's not in the system, you actually have to join the Wokwi Club. And then when you do that, you'll notice that you get a little club member banner under your name. Sometimes in the lounge, we'll all get together and smoke stogies, that kind of thing. Anyway, anybody can become a Wokwi Club member. There's a subscription. I think it's like an annual subscription. There's some advanced features you get access to. Namely, you can upload any Arduino library. So if you have some bespoke Arduino library, you want to upload it, no problem. You can also upload customary binary files. And what's also neat is that you can connect your ESP32 to your local Wi-Fi connection. So you can, like, let's say you wanted to scan local Wi-Fi connections or whatever like that, you can set that up if you are a club member. So you can really do a lot with this Wokwi simulator. I mean, I haven't even mentioned the logic analyzer that you can hook up. We didn't demo all the different boards that you can simulate. They even have a Wokwi Pro where you can use it with VS Code, Visual Studio Code if you do that, or use it for continuous integration. It works with JetBrains. Like I said before, you can use Rust and MicroPython to program it. They got tons of featured projects, all types of great stuff. I know we've just barely scratched the surface here, but it's definitely worth checking out. Now, if you're just getting into Arduino programming, or maybe you want a little more background on like, what is this whole thing? The next place you need to go is right here. It's this Arduino in 90 Minutes Masterclass. You can walk with me as we explore Arduino, and it's pretty practical and laid out. I think you're going to learn a ton. It's right here.